Hello and welcome to The Pulse. On Tuesday, President Xi Jinping delivered his closing speech to the 16-day session of the National People's Congress. More than 5,000 delegates of China's advisory and legislative bodies were assembled in Beijing for the Congress and the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference meeting. Also congregating were 3,000 reporters, a third from overseas. We talked to some of Beijing's foreign correspondents about the challenges they face covering Chinese news. That's in part two. Two big changes were endorsed at the two sessions. Term limits for the president and vice president were deleted from the constitution, and Xi Jinping thought was written in. She also reshuffled the government and placed its trusted aides in key positions. The party's control is now stronger, as Xi reiterated in his closing speech. He said, government, the military, society and schools, north, south, east and west. The party leads them all.
This week, the curtain finally fell on China's two sessions for 2018. China's number one man introduced 21 amendments to the constitution. The changes are designed to strengthen the legitimacy of the party and to reduce any boundaries between the party and the state. While in Beijing, newly appointed Standing Committee member of the National People's Congress Tam Yu-chung said that individuals demanding the end of one-party rule could perhaps be barred from running for a LegCo seat. Pro-Beijing newspapers such as One Way Po instantly amplified his view.
當然你普通人去講，冇人去阻止你嘅，香港又唔會話以言入罪嘅。當你要選立法會議員，而立法會議員係需要按經法有宣誓嘅話呢，咁亦都你喺報名嘅時候，選舉主任可能就會要求你簽個確認書，今後可能就多咗個因素。或者要考慮嘅嘢。
對於昨晚喺北京方面所發生嘅事情呢，我係表示強烈譴責北京當局呢係血腥鎮壓北京學生群眾嘅。
當陣時嗰個環境即係會好多嘢你唔清楚、唔明白，會產生好多疑問或者好多質疑或者好唔接受但係通過可能不斷了解多咗嘅時候，可能有所變化。
Despite amendments to the mainland constitution, organizers of the annual June 4th vigil insist they will be chanting the slogan this year. Many say that there isn't really much need to self-censor at this stage. All the same, some pro-democracy lawmakers were playing it safe on Wednesday.
可唔可以影完相嘅時咧，喺嗰句結束嘅當天成我哋傾下先。好啊，我哋要有 HCF， 我哋要有 HCF。
Well, with us in the studio, Lee Chek-yan, trade union leader and secretary of the Hong Kong Alliance in support of patriotic movements of China, and Lawrence Ma, who's a DAB member, barrister and chairman of the Hong Kong Legal Exchange Foundation. Can I come to you first of all, Lawrence Ma? We've had this suggestion from Tam Yu-chung, who's the only Hong Kong member of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, to the effect that legislators and possibly a wider ban should be enforced on people calling for an end to one-party rule in China. Where is that in the basic law?
Well, first, we've got to understand that every Hong Kong residents, if they are Chinese citizens, by virtue of them holding the HKSAR passport, they're Chinese citizens. Now, under the Constitution of China, and Article 53 of that provision, all Chinese citizens have to uphold the Constitution. Now, Hong Kong residents, if they are in the category of Chinese citizens, then they are obliged to uphold the Constitution. Now, that's point one. But if you come down to the office of legislative councillor, which is created by the basic law, then you look at the basic law to see whether they can be disqualified by virtue of, say, for example, Article 104, which they have to swear the oath to say they uphold the basic law. Now, if you uphold the basic law, you also have to uphold the preamble of the basic law, which says that the basic law is created by the Constitution.
So you're saying Tam Yu-chung is completely wrong. because we are really shocked about what he has said, because he's trying to sort of disqualify the whole generation. My generation have been calling for the end of one-party dictatorship for over 28 years, since '89. And so what he is suggesting is anyone that said that, which is we see it as a part of, our rights, our freedom of speech, expression rights. And then if we are disqualified because we freely express ourselves, it's really infringing the basic human rights of Hong Kong. So are you saying that suggesting Tam Yu-zong is wrong?
No, it's not wrong.
Saying that they want to disqualify anyone that cry out and
what he's made is a political statement which is perfectly correct. As a Chinese citizen, I assume that you hold a Hong Kong passport because that by virtue of your capacity as a Chinese citizen, you got to uphold the Constitution of the People's Republic of China. No doubt about that. But when it comes down to disqualification, there's a legal technicality in it.
So you're saying that he is legally wrong, but political right correct. But where do the Constitution of China come in? For us, we have one country, two system. What he is saying, he's trying to disqualify the whole Hong Kong, disqualify the whole one country, two system.
Could you also address the fundamental point that you raise, which seems to be that in all matters, the Chinese constitution overrides the provisions of the basic law? Is that what you're also saying?
The Chinese constitution, of course, overrides the basic law, because they are on top of the basic law. Without the Chinese constitution, there is no basic law. Now, but when it comes down to specific provisions in the basic law, for example, capitalist system, that under Article 5 of that would displace any application of Article 1, which says, in the Chinese constitution, which says the entire China is by way of a socialist system.
So it doesn't override the basic law?
Comes from the basic law comes from the Constitution. But when there are specific provisions in relation to Hong Kong, those specific provisions will prevail over the Constitution there.
Now, let me just ask you, as an organiser of the annual June 4 rally, which always has slogans denouncing the one-party state, I mean, some people would say, well, isn't that just too provocative?
No, I think we have always been, expressing that for, over the years, and it's not provocative. Because if you want China to really improve in terms of, livelihood, human rights, economic, we believe that a system, the total system of rule of law and human rights should be in place. And one-party rule is against that.
Well, advocating an amendment of certain provisions does not mean that you can escape from the responsibility of upholding the Constitution. I mean, if you want to overthrow the entire Constitution, because it was created, China was created, the People's Republic of China was created by the Communist Party, no less about it.
It's created by the working class.
Of course not. It was the Communist Party who led the unification of the China and created the new China.
Actually, you are rewriting history, I mean, the official history is that the People's Republic of China wasn't purely created by the Communist Party. It was created by a coalition of parties. It's quite true that those other parties were pretty irrelevant. But you are rewriting history in saying that it was purely the Chinese Communist Party.
Purely, but it was actually orchestrated with the cooperation of other
I don't think anybody doubts that, but that's not the official history.
Yeah, and official history is that Mao Zedong himself said that there should be an end of one-party rule. So what do you respond to that? Are you denying the history? That the Communist Party itself want to end up one-party rule, and they never said they themselves is one-party rule. So I think what happened actually is, to be honest, Tam Yu-zong is really, high in power, and suddenly he wants to do something to please the Xi Jinping, to please the Communist Party. So he come out and say, things that really upset people of Hong Kong, infringe our rights, but want to shoe shine Beijing for sure.
No. I don't think it is a one-party rule as correctly interpreted. It was the Communist Party leading a number of political parties by way of a CPPCC system of consultations given to the party to run the country in that system. That's a constitutional system.
I think the problem now is we see the red line set by the Communist Party really squeezing on our space. The national anthem, the co-location problem, part of Hong Kong is now have the jurisdiction from China. All this are squeezing on us. Do you admit that?
Well, I think it is true because we have been long ignoring the People's Republic of China in Hong Kong. We are only thinking about ourselves from our angle of view, from our point of view, ignoring the fact that we are living under the entire People's Republic of China. Right?
Then what is the meaning of Hong Kong people rule Hong Kong and high autonomy? This time Xi Jinping also mentioned that, so he should respect that. But what you are saying that we have ignored the one country for so many years, so the two systems now have to be squeezed. So are you saying that? You are saying that we should narrow our space because China is overriding?
No, what we should be respecting the Chinese constitution and our obligation as a Chinese citizen under the People's Republic of China's law. Because that's really what we should do. We are not an independent country.
That is one country.
We are not an independent system.
No two system.
Gentlemen, we're at the end of our time, but thank you very much indeed. And we'll be back after the break.